Are we live?
We're live. It's all you.
All right, Nate. Thanks, everybody. Welcome to Badger State Down and Dirty. And usually we have John Strandley here, but he's a little under the weather tonight. So it's just you're stuck with Stacy and I, right, Stacy?
I guess you got to do with what you got.
Right. Ryan's here too. Ryan's the tech guy. So we had a hard time.
We tried to do a mortgage show.
What's that?
We almost did a mortgage show for Jason.
Yeah, we almost did a mortgage show for Schultz, whatever the heck he calls his deal.
Oh,
yeah. So we were on the wrong channel for a couple of minutes.
Yeah,
but what we thought we'd talk about a little announcer show tonight. Christopher's supposed to be coming on. It looks like he's trying to there a little bit, huh?
He's working on it.
He doesn't want to show his face.
But this was John's idea, and then he called in 15 minutes ago. So
he's like a little kid.
Yeah. Right. But,
you'll get that.
Well, what I was going to suggest tonight a little bit, talk about too, is our live streaming. We did it this year, and we did pretty good with it, guys. Right? I'm not going to announce the dollar amount we made this year. It's not that impressive, but from what I hear, for a first year of doing it, it did really well. You know, so we're gonna send some of that money back to our sponsor,
the promoters,
not our sponsors, the people that put the events on. You know, our hosts. You know,
different promoters.
The promoters, yes, that's the word I was trying to think of, and not having any success thinking of that. But promoters, you know, they'll get a few $100 back. Some of them will get, you know, $1,000 back. You know, that we did all right. You know, the deal is we sell it for $20.
Go ahead. What did we do for numbers on the live stream?
I would say we averaged 40 or 50 viewers per event.
Devices logged in.
Devices logged in, yes.
So that could be that there could be 10, 20 people watching on one device, though.
Right. And I know that happened. They had watch parties. You know.
Oh, sure, yeah. When Norris has it up there on the big screen. Sure.
Yep.
So it could be an additional 200 to 300 people watching.
Right, sure. And it's hard, you know, it is what people do in their shop too. I know some people that watch, you know, they'd have 20 people over and watch it in their shop. And it isn't that they don't want to go to the event, but they're too far away. They don't get off work in time, you know, and they go. So we'll log in this way. At least we got $20 out of them, where you'd have never got a nickel out of them watching it, right?
Yeah.
You know, and really, Ryan, you did most of the work. Was it a lot more work to hook up and do it, or not?
Not so much once I figured out, you know, we're with the Starlink, just figuring that out. And it's pretty much the same as what you saw on the big screen is what, you know, so
right.
I tweaked things as we went along, and getting the announcers feed was a little bit at certain places.
Well, so now next year we're talking about getting a camera up in an announcer's booth to watch the guys in the booth, right? So between passes, maybe you can go up there and you can watch them talk or whatever's going on, right? Just for like a fill-in, right?
Or if they do an interview up there, it's easier than trying to get a shot from where I'm at. Right.
Stacy has a face for radio, not camera. So how are we going to handle that?
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
That's where Emily can come in and do the interviews up there.
All right, we'll let Emily do it. Yep. So
more people probably want to see her.
Well, I don't know if you guys have heard or not, and it's on Facebook, so I can say it. Emily and Avery got engaged.
Yeah, I seen all that. I seen all that, and I seen all that, and I seen that ring, and I thought, boy, a guy could buy a nice turbocharger for the price of that ring, I bet.
Yeah, well, turbo depends on for which class. Hopefully you don't have to buy one again, right?
Yeah. Or maybe even a billet block, or maybe even a billet block. I don't know.
Well, payment towards it, maybe. Yeah. But Do you want to? We'll go back to the live streaming thing here a little bit. And I hope it gets bigger. And I heard a lot of good things on it. You always hear a couple negative things, but I heard a lot of good things, right?
Yeah, it was first year, and it was a big learning curve for everyone involved, and just figuring out. It wasn't quite 100% set up when we got the season going. It just took a little bit longer. So setting up subscriptions for this next season will be easier than this year.
Yeah.
And we now have it. Now you can actually download it at the Play Store or your App Store for Apple. And I think it's going to be available through like Roku and Apple TV. That should be available as well.
Okay.
So that was all in development during the season.
What's that?
That was all in development during the season.
Yeah.
For like the app side of things.
So you're going to be able to go back and watch some events here later. And do you have to buy them again, or are they just going to? How's it work?
No, they'll be on YouTube here. I'm editing them now.
Okay.
And then they'll be on the YouTube channel. But like if you bought a live stream, you can go back and watch it at any time.
Right. But what about the ones you didn't buy? Now you'll be able to just watch them on YouTube?
Yeah, I'm gonna edit them down.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
And they'll be on the YouTube page.
Yep. Right.
So how long if people subscribe to the YouTube page, when we get enough, we can start monetizing that as another option.
All right. So how long does it take you to edit a show down, Ryan?
It will be easier. The first couple are taking a little bit longer because I'm gonna be able to basically use the same graphics. It's just basically cutting out in between. And going forward, that will be the goal. Is I can just cut out everything in between, and then I can just post like the class itself, break it down.
Okay.
For each event.
All right. Perfect. Yeah, Christopher, Stacy.
That live stream stuff, that's a whole new world for us, and for me, I think the rest of the world's been adapting to it a lot earlier than I. But I just got a new TV and it's got Roku on it. I got more channels than I know what to do with, and it's all a lot of streaming stuff. I mean, this is the wave of the future, evidently, Ryan, right?
Right. And now with you can go and find your favorite shows you watched as a kid on those channels.
Yeah.
They have dedicated streaming services, and you can go back and watch I Love Lucy all day if you wanted to.
Yeah. It's a whole different world out there as far as that stuff goes. I know that.
Yeah.
And I think it's hurting TV, the regular old-fashioned TV channels. People don't watch them. The ratings have to be going down, right?
The ratings, if you did a rating versus now versus 20 years ago, it will be less people actually watching it live. But now you can go back and watch it at any time through this.
Right.
You don't have to watch it at 7 p.m. on Wednesday anymore.
That's why I like DVR, because I can take a half-hour show and turn it into 20 minutes and fall asleep.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know if everybody does that, but that's
with the streaming, they're getting around because that's what people were doing with DVR was they would record their shows and fast forward through the commercials. You won't be able to do that on a streaming service.
Right.
That's how they're going to try to get you back to watching the ads.
Right. So, Christopher, what did you think of the season and all the live streaming? I don't think his volume's working.
Yeah, he's got to turn his mic.
Where's Mike? Yep.
Jeez, he can't even run technology.
Right.
Come on, Christopher. If I can figure it out, you should be able to.
Right. Us two old guys here, we rubbed our two stones together and got it working, right? Yeah. Yeah. But
must be a
I don't know
seed salesman.
yeah. Well, let everybody know we had some guys lined up for tonight, and everybody's in the field. It's so hard to get guys this time of the year to take an hour, come on the show and talk. You know, and it's hard for me. I just got out of the grain truck here 20 minutes ago and got here. You know, I mean, it's you know, I probably shouldn't. I should have hauled a couple more loads, but I didn't. But it is that time of the year, guys. I hope everybody understands it, and I think they do.
Yeah, especially we've been in a pretty good stretch up until this weekend. You know, they could go pretty good there.
Yeah, we needed that rain just to settle the dust. You know, I don't know how much anybody got. We didn't get much, but
did you have some pretty violent lightning strikes over by you on Saturday?
Oh yeah.
It was weird. Saturday was really weird.
So all May, June, and July.
How's that, Ryan?
Because it rained.
Oh yeah, there we go. It's Hillsboro Education finally.
Yeah, we got to figure it out now. He had to get a new computer because I broke my last one. But I was going to ask you, Stacy, when you announce when you know you're on the live stream, does it change the way you announce a little bit, or do you add some extra things in? I noticed myself doing that this summer a little bit, where you talk a little bit more about like where you're at, the town you're at, where you're located in the state. Do you ever talk to just the live stream people when you announce?
I fail miserably in that department, Christopher. I don't even know I don't even know the live stream's going on. To me, it's just a regular old tractor pull. I don't want to say I don't pander to the live stream audience, but I don't even think twice about it. I really don't. It never crosses my mind. I have enough time. I have a hard enough time bringing people's attention to the big screen, you know, and hey, let's watch this replay, you know. And Ryan's really good about listening to me anyway, as far as when I see something on a particular run, and we want to see that oil coming out of the side of it, you know, whatever. And Ryan's really good at doing that, but I actually fail miserably in that department, is utilizing the tools that we have there. You know, I hope the people look at the big screen because it's right there, but it's not a tool that I use a lot for whatever reason. I guess I'm just old.
Yeah, that one thing I found when at the beginning of a show, I made a point to like welcome the live stream fans that are viewing at that time. If there is any, you know, right at the beginning, I just welcome the live stream, and then it kind of puts it in your mind to think about that as the show goes on, to talk to the live stream people, like one sentence within a couple hours right to the live stream people. I tried to kind of remember that and do that throughout a show. And it's neat when I watch other live stream events, when they explain where they're at in the world or what the event is, a little bit of a history about the event, or just in a couple sentences, it kind of adds a little extra flair to it.
Yeah, and that's something I probably need to work on, because I'm not giving out any information. Whoever tunes into the live stream, if they can't figure out by the background of where we're at, they're not finding out from me. I know that.
Well, when they buy it, it says what they're buying, right?
Yeah.
They know what they're buying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite one, Stacy, though, was Monticello, because you had to wait as well for the distance.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was actually brought, you know, until it popped up on the screen.
Yeah.
I think next year it'll be our lasers there. I think.
Well, like Stacy wasn't by the announcer either, or the registration table there.
Right.
So he didn't know even when we got the measurement faster.
That's probably because he was announcing back in the Laney Wilson tour bus, I imagine.
No, right. I was down there with the people. It was awesome. But I was that was probably the most I've ever utilized the big screen, obviously, because I was waiting on the distances with everybody else. We were all waiting together, and we all got it at the same time. You know, I could tell them who was the leader and what the mark to beat was, and we were all waiting patiently. And it got to be a little, because we were having trouble picking up the prism there on a few poles, so we were waiting, and oh my God, it's close! Oh my God, you know, it was really good for building.
It did add drama.
Yeah, drama. Oh yeah, it was high drama, that's for sure.
But when something like that happens, that added a half hour to our show that night.
It did.
Struggling with the laser that night, it did, and that's not what we want to do, right?
No.
Yeah.
It's good for drama, but people want to see stuff
not waiting on the laser, but the announcer not knowing either.
Yeah.
Right. But that was a great place for a polo. The big screens, they had 4 big screens along the track there.
Yeah, they have their own that kind of blow ours out of the water. Theirs are like 20 by 16.
And the sound system they had there was the one that Laney Wilson was going to use the next night. I mean that was the degree of that sound system. I mean, concert quality. And they had 2 sound engineers up there that were orchestrating, running the whole thing. And them guys travel the country doing sound for big events. They'll run. I was talking to them. They'll run all over the Midwest and out east during the summer. Then they go down south for the winter. It's what they do all the time. And they were really good. I mean, they had me with wireless, and they said, when you stop talking for 2 seconds, background music's going to fade in. And it was always different music. They weren't picking up the same song ever. It was always different, but they were good enough to where they got the flair of what we were up to, and they started playing tractor songs and John Deere Green, and real good popular country stuff, and it was, so I didn't have to talk nonstop, which for me is kind of unreal. And it was but it really added to the show. I mean, that to me, that was my high water mark in my announcing career, was out there by far. It was pretty amazing. I know one thing, I was wore out when it was all done.
Yep. Well, you were excited that night. That was a great show. I thought one of our top shows of the year.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That track was good, and a few different competitors there. It was fun.
Yeah. So, and you know what saved that show, Greg, is that Brandon didn't have any more weight for the sled. Otherwise, you guys would have killed that pro stock class.
Well, he said that nobody told him pro stocks were there, so he didn't bring enough weight.
Yeah.
So he made it work, and it was a great show.
Yeah, but if he'd have put another weight in that sled, that would have snuffed her out. I
know, but it was we're going to talk about our distance thing this year, the 350, and resetting the sled. It's nobody wants to go 380, but 350, 330 is perfect if you can make that happen, I think.
Yeah. I just know what happened at Milledgeville.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that stunk, but it is what it is, and I feel, but, we made a rule and we got to stick by the rule, right?
Evidently.
That's what it is. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So, if Dustin would have backed out 6 inches early, he'd have won the class probably. He was driving Brandon Coates' tractor and he went 6 inches too far.
Yeah.
But, and if you make a rule, you better follow them. That's what it is, right? Or you're going to lose some people. You're going to gain more people by following the rule and enforcing it. That's the way we've been forever. Right, guys? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah.
Well, that's why you got the meeting in December.
Right. But, you can't – a 270 show stinks to high altitude.
Yeah.
So you can't have –
You got to reevaluate everything, I think. You stuck with it throughout the year, and then now you get a chance to reevaluate it with the class.
So if you read the rule book for PPL, it actually says after 330 you reset the sled. And we went to 350, not obeying that rule and set our own rule. So if you read the rule book, it says 330. But nobody enforces it. Anywhere. So, I don't know. We'll talk about it in December, and anybody wants to come in. We should probably just put our meeting in the afternoon on live stream and see how many people want to watch it.
I'm sure you get a lot of comments. I could definitely read the comments.
Yeah, we would probably get a lot of comments and people watching it, right?
If you want, we probably could do it.
Well, what do you think? Is it worth doing or not? You guys have all sat through that meeting, right? I think it's kind of lame and boring, but you go over stuff and
it's definitely, I mean, it'd be like a board meeting for like the city or the county, I guess, right? And they put them on streams.
Put it on, be like C-SPAN.
Yeah,
right.
Yep, the C-SPAN.
Yep.
I don't know if anyone else has ever done a meeting like that before on the live stream.
Yep. Well, we have a Dale Curry congratulating the kids on the engagement. So thank you, Dale.
Yeah, and the Meinholz agreed with you on the rule, sticking with the rules.
Yep. Yep. We need to change it a little bit, but you can't, some places 350 is too far. Like Jefferson, you couldn't do it. 330 is probably it there.
Yeah. I mean, you got to adapt for the conditions that you're in. I mean, there's no question about that. I mean, if you don't have the room, you don't have the room. And, and the thing, I don't want to call it a problem, but the unique situation with the pro stocks is they're just a whole different animal than they were 5 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say that, you look at 5 years ago, the horsepower's doubled. And some of these sleds were built 30 years ago.
Right.
They're not built to handle.
Right.
They either, if they let you run, they can't stop you. So what happens is they don't let you run.
Right.
The pan is on the ground from the start. And you got the best pro stock class in the country, and you're killing them from foot one.
Yeah, and it's I don't want to slam on the sled guys at all, but some of them guys, they don't hook pro stocks all that much, So
right,
so every time they hook the class, it's almost an unknown to them. And and the pro stocks, besides the horsepower, the tires and everything, I mean, in all the classes, the tires have made a tremendous difference.
Right.
What a setting that used to stop somebody at 330, you could do it the exact same, everything the same. Put a different set of tires on, and now they're going 345. It's a challenge. It's really a challenge to the sled guys. For sure. I mean, when we get to that 350 thing, and they kick it up one gear, they probably need to make another adjustment too. Besides kicking it up one gear, take a weight out of the pan or something else.
Right.
Just not the one adjustment. But them guys are learning too. So it's not an envious situation for them guys, that's for sure.
Well, if you watch the newer sleds, the rails are longer on them.
Oh yeah.
So the box, you can do more.
Right.
With a short rail sled, in my opinion, too much has to happen in too short a time.
Right. And when they're blocking the box out 2 feet right from the start, right on the starting line, you ain't going to get going very fast.
No, and you got the pan 100% on the ground at starting line too, with the box set ahead.
Yeah.
That's and people come to see a good show. We have to put on a good show.
Right.
Number one.
Right.
Right. It doesn't matter what you got. You can make, when hot farm tractors are going faster down the track than pro stocks and going farther, people say, well, why, you know what I mean? What you hear the noise is different in pro stock, but it's the same show.
Yep.
One thing I've seen lately on the difference of tires, I don't know if you two seen it, but the video on Sidetrack's Facebook page, have you ever seen the video of the first time Bob Jostock ran the Polar 2000s at an indoor event?
Yeah, I did see that. That was at Fort Wayne.
Yeah, where he ran his tires and then put the new tires on, and 2 hours later, same sled, same track, and ran those to a high wheel stand, slammed the front end down. And for me being younger, and a lot of the younger people, when you two talk about the tires difference, and you guys have seen the tire progression so much more over the years compared to even me in the last 10 or 12 years. But seeing that video really made it stick for me, is how different tires have really become in the last 15 years and in the last 5 years.
Yep. So I don't know if people don't really remember, but back in the day when we'd buy brand new set of 24/5 tires, ag style tires with the lugs on them, everything, Mark Korth would cut off 3 55-gallon drums of rubber off of them tires to cut what we needed. Just think of the work then. Now they come with pretty much the cut in them, but they sharpen them and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Except the Mitas, they come as a blank slate.
Right. So they're putting on the 56 lugs, like the parks I have came with 48 lugs. So the Mitas, they're cutting 56 lugs in them. And in my opinion, on a good track, it really doesn't make a difference. Right. But on a poor track, I'm seeing that the 56 lugs help better. Yeah. So I don't know. That's my observation. If it means anything or not, that's what it is. But the parks tires are standing up for 3 seasons, where the Mitas have to be sold every season because they're wore out. So what do you do?
You got to have your tire guy on speed dial, sounds like.
Right. Well, you better have some money in the bank because you got to keep buying if that's just the way it is. So that's why when Bob Parks designed them tires, he talked about being able to get a few seasons out of them. And mine are 14 plies. The Parks Pro Stock tires are 14 plies. And I really believe the Mitas are all 10 plies, right? I think they are. Yeah. So that, whatever.
I think the first, didn't they come out with a couple 12 ply early on, early on in there?
They might have. I don't know.
I don't think they worked very well.
No, I don't know. I don't know what works the best, but you just got to figure out what you have and make it work, right?
Yeah. Well, and the big thing about pulling is, we pull on dirt and we don't pull on the same dirt twice. It's always someplace else, and it's always prepared. It's always different dirt. It's always prepared differently, and it's a different sled. I guess that's what makes pulling so interesting and such a challenge, is because there's so many variables. I mean, my particular mini modified, I don't change a whole lot on it. I just wait for me to get lucky and hit my track and my gear on a certain day,
Right. Well, too, on certain sleds, right away you're going to be at a gear lower or a gear higher than the last week, a different sled, right? You just know it. Yeah. That's some sleds are that way, some aren't, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, yeah, and certain tracks, and when I see who built the track, like when I see JJ's had anything to do with the track, or Clinton Tucker, I'm like, oh, we better put some low gears in her.
Right. So, do you think Clint's track down in Cloverdale is going to be the same as it was in Shipshewana?
I'm guessing it will, because he's done such a good job with Gordyville, making it such a monster. And then, and that was permanent dirt underneath the horse stuff there. And then Cloverdale being a hauled-in track, we ran the lowest gears we ever ran in our mini rod down there, and it needed it. So I wouldn't suspect Cloverdale to be any different. He's got a knack for building tracks, that's for sure.
Yeah, that Shipshewana track last year was killer.
Yeah.
I could not believe that guys were trying anything higher than their lowest gear.
Yeah.
On that one. Yep.
Ryan Paulson wants to know, how many times can you get a set of tires sharpened? I guess that'd be for you, Greg.
It depends on how bad you screw them up each time. If you get a big chunk out of them, they might have to cut a half-inch out of them. Most of the time, I don't know, a quarter-inch, eighth inch, just to put a sharp edge on them. But if you get a bunch of grooves cut in them, where you hit a rock or something, the track or something, took a big chunk out, they'll cut more out each time. I usually don't let them do it. I say, cut it back and just cut the normal off, and we'll deal with what it is. Because up 6-8 times, I would say.
How
many?
Don't
have to do anything crazy.
How many times during a season will you touch up the tires on the Tomcat, Greg?
Twice. Once they're new, they're fresh at the beginning, and about halfway through, unless you get on a track with rocks in it, and you'll just wreck them. You gotta do something then.
Yeah.
And you can put an edge on them that will take the rocks and not tear back as bad, but they don't work as well then. You need a good straight edge on them. The good straight edge, when it hits a rock, rips the chunk out of them, and it tears them back, but you're there to win. So it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
You gotta be most aggressive. You can't save a dime. You can't. You want to win. If you're there to win, you have to be aggressive.
Yeah.
Did
you look at the guys that? If you look at the guys that don't care about the cost. Watch him bend the throttle harder than the next guy that does worry about it. Yeah. You can see it, right? You know.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I see that through a lot of classes. There's guys that they don't care if they drives onto the trailer or not.
Right. They're there to win. They don't care at what cost. They don't care.
Yeah.
Yep.
Greg, speaking of that, or not speaking of that, when was the first time you ever drove a pro stock? Not yours. How long ago? When was your first time on a pro stock?
The first time on it was mine. I'd never driven one before that.
Okay.
No. Limited Pro. The only other tractor I've ever really driven was Larry Wolf's that I can think of. I drove his one time. We swapped tractors long years ago at that last event of the year. Larry and I are good friends, and we were in first and second place in points in Super Farm, and we said, "Hey, let's drive the other tractor. You could beat me or whatever. You know." It was fun but that was back in the day when we had 6 events a year.
Yeah.
You know, so it wasn't. You know, it isn't what it is today.
You had to travel if you wanted to add more.
Yep. You did. So
when did you start pulling, Greg, then?
1980. I was 13 years old.
Okay.
So 1979. Yep. Massey Harris 44 Special.
You've been pulling almost as long as Larry Hawthorne.
Right? Yeah. Not quite. Yeah. 45 years it will be this year. Yeah. So a lot of fun back in the day. You know, that was like farm pulling, too hot to farm. We did that. It was just farm pulling back then. There was, you know, and what happened was I started going to pulls, and Dennis Fry, diesel injection. We did some work on the old 1066, and it got to be where everywhere I went, they made me pull with the Badger State guys that were there. So I figured I might as well just join Badger State then and pull with them. You know, then finish it off and do the rest. Yep. Yeah. And the rest is history, as they say, right? Yeah.
So did you always start? Was the 1066 your original pulling tractor, Greg?
Yes, it was. That's the boys' Thunder Clutch now. Same tractor.
Yeah.
From 1980. We bought that tractor I bought it burned up from a neighbor for $3,500 in 1984 or 5. It had one of the big white cabs on it. I took that off and sold that for $700. So I got the tractor price down a little bit. And when I built my first Super Farm tractor from start to finish, and that was this tractor, $13,000 bought everything. That tells you how things have changed. That was fuel, air, and tires, and a 540 kit. Back then, it was a 540 kit you got from Hypermax. That was $3,500. You put the sleeves and pistons in, the same rods and all that, you know. So it was nothing, you know. And just way back then, that's what it was.
Yeah. And you guys were running ag tires. I mean, there wasn't any special tires back then.
Well, Keith Durst, I had 20.8s on right away because I couldn't afford the big tires, and I really decided what I wanted. And I went to the first couple pulls, and I won both pulls with 20.8s on. And then Keith said, you know, if you put these 24.5s I have on, he's lived in Richland Center. I went down and got him and pulled a couple, like I said, we had 5 or 6 events that year. So the next 2 or 3 events, you know, I put them on, and I missed the last one because that was the first year Larry Wolf started too. You know, it was always him or I, you know, winning. And we went to Hawaii and missed the last event, so I didn't win points that year. Right? If I'd have just been there, we would. But it wasn't a big deal. It was $60 and a little trophy, you know. It was a points check, you know. So whatever. Yeah, but it's changed a little bit, which is good, I think. I don't know, but you guys all started out the same way, right, Stacy? You know.
Yeah, pulling? I mean, I started mini modified pulling in 1982. That was when I started actively pulling. Of course, that was when I got out of trade school and got a real job and had some money, you know. And even way back then, I was 20, 19 years old, I guess, 20 years old. And, me and my brother Perry, we didn't have two nickels to rub together, but we had a pulling tractor.
Right. Still
I
still don't have two nickels to rub together.
Yeah. I mean, we built the tractor before we had a hauler. I mean, we didn't even have a trailer. He had an old crappy rusted out Chevy pickup truck. We cut the box off that and welded a little angle iron dovetail on a flatbed on the back of it and got some 2x10s, and that was our ramps, and that's how we went to the pulls our first year.
Yeah.
Unsafe at any speed, but the whole operation, the hauler, the tractor, we probably didn't have $5,000 in the whole operation.
What do you think of them guys from the 70s and 80s? If they'd see the haulers today and what the equipment looked like, even going to Louisville back then, what came in there was just like, are you kidding? Today there's nothing like that there.
Yeah.
I remember the first tractor I ever seen in Louisville that was just super cool was called High Steppin'. And or the Keystone Cop it was. And this thing was all billet. It was still a CAG chassis and all that. That thing was immaculate. And then that was the first one I really believe started stepping stuff up.
Yeah. It wasn't that, it wasn't. I remember going to Louisville and walking through the parking lot out there, and Neil Gettinger, that was back when he pulled the diesel John Deere, the Up and Atom. But he hauled in on a fifth wheel trailer with an old Dodge Power Wagon with a Cummins in it. I mean, that's what he was hauling with back then.
Yeah, that's with me, guys. I just can't imagine going across country in February to Louisville on a gooseneck trailer.
Yep.
With your Pro Stock.
Yeah.
Well, when I started, it was just a gooseneck trailer. The same thing. I borrowed my neighbor's gooseneck trailer. I had a pickup. I put a fifth wheel or a gooseneck hitch in it. And them were the fun days, though.
Yeah.
You'd leave the pull, and whatever bar was the first bar outside of town, no matter. But like I said, we only did 5 or 6 of them a year. And it was a Saturday night always. And whatever bar was the first one out of town, there'd be 25 gooseneck trailers and tractors sitting around that bar, parked at it, and it was fun, and we'd all go in there and have a good time, and that was fun. It's fun today, but it's a lot more challenging today. I don't know if you believe that. I think it is. But it's all fun.
Well, part of it is just trying to get some of these haulers into these fairgrounds now, with them being so long. Yeah. That's part of the challenge.
Right. You look at it and be like, holy smokes, someday that's my dream thing. I do want to do the Champions Tour someday and just not do Badger State and just go do that and just see how I can compete with them guys for a year. I know the Tinker Toy will be kicking everybody's butt forever, but what do you do? See if you get second to him, you won. Right.
It'll be fun to get to different places though too.
Right. There's some other places I'd like to see him pull at, but time is everything.
Yeah. Speaking of different places, have you had any scuttlebutt, Greg, about 2025 schedule coming together, or does that all take place at the fair convention for the most part?
Oh, it's all coming together again. We have a little struggle with Macville because of the, not blaming if RJ Simon's doing that pull out there with the big money, it's $2,500 to enter and they pay out $50,000 a class. That's the same weekend as Macville.
Oh.
So limited pros and pro stocks, what do we do? And then we don't know about 2-wheel drives. How many of them guys are going to sign up? That's our biggest struggle right now, is making that one work. And I think what RJ is doing there is great for the sport. Having a money thing like that, I didn't sign up for it. I know a few other guys in Badger State did not, but
that is the challenge with that event. You don't want to do it too early. You can't do it too late. He's got to be in that sweet spot of not being too early in the spring for the weather, for the farming, for the businesses.
Yep. And I believe in 2026, if I'm thinking about it right, there'll be one less weekend in June. So I'm thinking RJ's deal will fall on top of the benefit pool. So, I mean, that's something, you're looking forward to. That's part of setting all this up, is looking 2 years in advance. What's going to happen? What do we do?
Yeah. So RJ's poll would be going over Hutchinson, Minnesota too, wouldn't it?
Yes, it will. Yep.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Or I think theirs is going down a weekend because I think Toma moves to the 4th weekend of June this next year, from what I heard.
Right. There's a weekend off between Macville and Toma this year.
So I think Hutchinson is going to fall in between, I think is where they're trying to fit them in.
Yeah.
So is everybody else.
So
is everybody else. That's why we talked about moving Macville to that weekend, but everybody else is too, so.
Yeah, that's where with the 4th of July, the way it is this summer, that gave me some challenge with some of my events I help with is what weekend do you celebrate the 4th? And it really changes around July again.
Yeah, June and July only have 4 weekends next summer.
Adam Stevens says there are 11 Badger State 4-1s signed up for RJ's poll.
Right.
That's all of them.
That's like 3 or 4 that are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. It's going to be a tough, what do you do?
Yeah.
Macville's been loyal to us for 20 some years. And how do you,
Boy. Yeah. That's gonna,
what do you tell them?
That's going to be tough. Now, RJ's not having any modifieds. Can we bring Champions Tour modifieds up to Macville?
We should.
There you go. New opportunity.
That place, that crowd will go crazy there.
I'd be all for it.
I think that we could too. I've been talking to Christy about what we can get.
Right.
And I think that would be a good track for them too.
Oh, and the crowd would love it, because that's somewhat of a suburban crowd up there. They all come from down in the Fox cities. They'd go out of their minds. They haven't seen big mods up there in a long, long time.
Yeah, they
like over 20 plus years
up there.
Yep. Yeah. See what you can do about that. I'd like that.
They like the noise up there. They like the noise.
They do like noise. And 2-wheel drive trucks, and we're kind of waiting to see how many guys. I don't think that's filled up yet for RJ's deal. So, and it sounded like our guys will come to Macville and pull if we sign them. But if we want to do a Champions Tour deal like we did last year, Christy was just kind of paying attention and working her crowd to see how many of them guys signed up for it. So,
right.
Yeah, it's so scheduling these things isn't just go sign them. I always look, like Pro Farms, I can't sign them on top of a PI because we get half of each then, and I always work with them guys and they work with us. They're good. The local clubs here, we all work together to make sure, we're not signing something on top of.
Yeah, we have that down south with our flavor of mini rods, the ITPA and the IPA and the Western Series, they all offer our flavor, our class of mini rods, but there's only 10 of us. I mean, there's 12 if everybody gets out, but so you don't dare double book the class because neither place is going to have they'll have a so-so show. They won't have a full load, but our mini rod guys, we support all the organizations and and so it doesn't matter if it's ITPA, IPA, or Western Series. You get all the same guys. It's just whose shirt's on the starting line guy this time around. But you can't book over top of other events with the same vehicles, especially when there's a limited number of them available.
Nope. So, well, guys, I don't know. I'm running out.
Have you heard from Jack? How many more tickets are left, Greg?
6 books.
6 books?
I think it was. Not many. Raffle tickets gone. I'm going to call and get a couple more. I sold all of mine that I've had. I had 6, 8, 10 books of them. Just sold them all this last weekend in the bar at the Packer game.
Yeah. What we need to do is just walk around like Camp Randall and just, during, a Badger game and just probably sell them. Right.
So, yeah, that's things are going well there again. We got a bunch working on our sponsors for next year for everything, and I don't think we're losing anybody, so we might even gain a new one. So, working on that, above trying to pick corn and chop corn and do beans and, everything else you do. So
you got that auto steer. You can get a lot done in the cab.
My service truck does not have auto steer.
Oh.
I don't get to drive a combine. Yeah.
And for pullers out there, registration's still going for Midwest Winter Nationals in Cloverdale.
Hey, Ryan, I got a question for you on Cloverdale. I've been so long since guys been out there, and with the number of vehicles that are probably going to be there, are we going to be able to pit everything inside for the duration of the event, or are we going to be shuttling stuff in and out a little bit?
It will be, we should be able to get a full session and half of the next session in there. And then once you're done, it'll be like Gordyville days. They'll be in there tight to get as many as we can. And then parking will be, for those that registered, the reason why we're asking for hauler length is so we can park strategically, and there'll be zones where you can park, and then you can only park around the building once a parking spot for your session is available. And then you can only be there until you're done. Once you're done pulling for the weekend, for all vehicles. So if you're hauling with someone, you can stay. But once you're done with everything, then you have to move somewhere else and let another hauler in.
So
because we won't have enough space for all the haulers to park around the facility,
right
at one time.
So say if a guy's not pulling until Saturday, you don't even want to see him till Friday afternoon.
Right. You can still come. There's truck stops that you can park at, but your hauler won't be able to get up to the building.
Okay.
And we'll be sending out parking passes to people, and there'll be parking attendants. And if you don't have the right parking pass, you'll have to turn around.
Boot you out.
Yep.
What length of track are we going to be looking at out there?
It should be around 320 feet.
Okay, good.
So it should be just as long as Shippawana.
Okay.
Yeah. I've pulled there. It's a good track. The parking outside is tight.
It's different. I think it'll be a lot different from the last time you were there, because that was right when they built the facility.
Oh yeah,
opened up.
That was free for all.
Yeah, yeah, and there was 2 tracks going on too. So that was really chaotic.
Yeah,
we were still pulling at 5 a.m.
Yeah, no. So everything, we'll work with everyone the best we can. Just have to be patient that weekend, and we'll get everyone through. And it's all the same crew, and that moves everything in the back, and they'll move as fast as anyone on the track, and we'll just keep them moving through all weekend.
Okay, great.
I have just one thing for a shout out before we wrap it up. I was going to give a shout out to Ben Skiff. He was the class champion in the Pro Stock diesel trucks, and he did win. He won the shootout in Richland Center this last weekend on Friday night. He won an extra $3,000 cash for winning the 3.6 Pro Stock diesel truck class in Richland Center this last Friday night at a event I was announcing at. Just wanted to give a little shout out to him and thank him for bringing both trucks to that. I think he got first and second, and extra $3,000 he won this season at the shootout.
Congratulations to him. How'd that event go anyway? I seen the advertisements for it, but I just couldn't get up there.
Yeah, there was a great turnout. It was 6 classes. It was all trucks. I think it was the first time in like the 140-year history of Richland County Fairgrounds that they had an all truck pull event. And there was probably around like 75 pullers Friday night, and there was around like 90 drag racers on Saturday. The drag race on the track, and the drag race winner won $15,000, and the last drag race of the night was for $12,000, and both of them had fireballs and broken parts, so it was fun.
They had some extra incentive there, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yep.
They opened up the
It's neat
bottle a little bit, huh?
neat to see an event like that on Friday night, the pulling trucks only with fuel, and then the drag race trucks with fuel and nitrous. So quite a contrast and a difference, but a great event. And just a shout out to the Badger State trucks that were there and competing too.
And it was an all diesel show, wasn't it, Christopher?
Yeah. Yep. That's right.
Cool.
So
Nice.
um,
Had good weather for it.
Yes.
so
And I think
it's a
pulling.
grab. Oh, go ahead.
I think polling might be over in Wisconsin now. I don't know if you two know of anything left in the state, but I think that wrapped up polling
If
in
there
Wisconsin.
is, it'd be like a brush pull somewhere.
Yeah, nothing that I know of. Melissa Meinholz wants to know: is Cloverdale parking? Is it blacktop, cement, or gravel outside, or mud?
It's a gravel lot, just like Gordyville was. So
yeah. I remember John Coots had to move his truck out down to the truck stop there last time we were there. Somebody siphoned all the fuel out of his fuel tanks when I was sitting there. He went to start it up, was out of fuel. Yeah.
well,
Can't make that stuff up.
Nice.
only to him.
Yep.
So we're 4 weeks away from the banquet. Not even 4 weeks away from the banquet.
Right.
Yep, December.
Not even.
What? 7th?
Oh, yeah, we are.
December 7th, I believe.
7th, right?
Yeah. Got all of November. Got 5 weeks, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
It better not be 4 weeks. We'll still be picking corn. 6
Well,
might be it.
you got that new operator on the farm there, Greg. I figure she'd help pick up the slack a little bit.
She was driving grain cart today.
Yeah. That's a thankless job, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah. The grain cart operator's never right.
I've seen some videos about grain cart operators.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, should we call her rats tonight?
That's
I'd like
good.
to thank Slom Enterprises and Front Street Toys for their sponsorship and help with everything we do, and Trip Downing and Ed Casper. So really, guys, thank you for helping out, and thank you guys for coming on and making it a good show, and thank you everybody for watching.
Yep, nice to get to chit chat pulling with you guys as the weather starts to turn on us out here.
Yep. We'll hopefully get some points winners on. Hopefully we get somebody out of the field next week. We're gonna have to schedule it a little sooner.
I think Timmermans might be coming on next week.
No, 2 weeks.
I thought it was 2 weeks.
Yeah,
it's 2 weeks from tonight.
They're all out. Yeah, they're all out in Hawaii for 2 weeks, I think.
Okay. Well, they can join us from Hawaii.
Right. Yeah. Get their priorities right.
Right.
Why you're pulling. Yeah.
They could be at the Tiki Bar.
Right. So, all right, guys. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for watching, everybody.
You bet.
We'll talk to you next week. Same time,
so long,
same
everybody.
place.
Same bad channel.
Yep, same bad channel. Bye.